How do people live life sober? It took this hard realization for me to actually start healing. Sobriety is literally nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zero. The flaw in thinking is that sobriety is a positive. It is not. It is removing a negative, which is not the same thing. I have to use sobriety instead as a tool, not as a goal in and of itself. I use my sobriety to clearly look at my life and surroundings and make changes accordingly to build the life free of hangovers and feeling ill, being the one in control of my time and energy, enjoying choice. It's easier to solve problems in life when you're clear-headed, well-rested, and not poisoned by the shit you consume. I got very tired of being a drunk. Mind adapts. It takes a long time. Days of boredom, feeling things too intensely, etc. But it does change over time. In my experience, I think the honest answer to OP's question is that most people don't live life sober. They may not drink or do drugs, but we all compensate for the general tedium of life somehow. Some people compensate by chasing adrenaline rushes, some people do it by chasing God, some people do it by enjoying friends and family. Everyone's brain is different, but we're all just trying to hit those pleasure centers, yet doped up on a certain cocktail of chemicals that our brain tells us is enjoyment. There are healthier ways to do this than others for sure. But your brain is unique and it will take time to figure out what healthy outlets do it for you. Since you are presumably already very aware of the unhealthy ways of seeking pleasure, this will be a struggle, but I believe in you. I explore new hobbies or activities that brings me joy, and chocolate, of course. My answer is, one day at a time. I quite enjoy not feeling like shit when I wake up, rarely vomiting, having most of my memories, and a general sense of control. Addiction usually stems from poor mental or physical health. Fox that, and it's easier. But to answer your question, I'm completely sober now and I do everything I used to do, but I'm just more fun and less sick. I used to smoke weed daily at all times when I was home. It's normal at that point, so sobriety felt like something was lacking. Once I got therapy and start healing, and then actively growing, sobriety became much more enjoyable. I have hobbies that I love doing which honestly are worse when I'm inebriated. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy getting blazed or a little tipsy from time to time. But now it's for fun rather than to be normal. I notice when I'm sober that I get a lot out of simple things, even the mundane. It's not hard at all. My life improved after I stopped drinking. With help support from friends, consider joining a 12-step support group like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. Family, friends, attachments, fulfilling work, having goals, experiencing, making a positive impact, leaving this world better than when you found it. I actually like my life. Also, I dislike pretty much most coping food drink, alcohol, coffee, chocolate, etc. I'm 31 and I've drank like 5 times in my life. I hate the taste, I hate the effect, and I hate the price. There's upsides to drinking for me. The thought of having to bring my kid to the hospital at 3 a.m. and being too drunk to do it. Having to explain why I called an ambulance instead of driving them there. Or getting a dweebly while driving my kids there or anywhere else. Short answer for me is wanting to be a dad to my kids. Sobriety is easy when you have a support network, and things to do. It's so much harder when you have no one. At first, I had to aggressively chase things to do. I had a lot of free time once I was sober. All the drinking time, of course, but there was the time I spent obtaining alcohol, and the time spent hiding how much alcohol I drank, and sadly how much time I spent throwing up and being ill from alcohol. It was a full-time job. I was too weak to do much physically, so I decided I was going to study to take the Jeopardy test. I spent hours making flashcards about presidents and Shakespeare. Once I could do more physically, lots of exercise. It took about 3 months before I didn't have the lost feeling of so much free time. But yeah, I used to watch TV and marvel at these people just going through life without a drink. It seemed impossible. But once your head is clean, not just not drinking, you start wondering how and why you let yourself get to that bad place. 6 years later, I wouldn't have time to drink even if I wanted to. But getting sober isn't a passive thing. You have to fill all that time with a new life. I should qualify that as in my personal experience. I'm